another episode of Jalon's Garage. Very special vehicle today. This is the 100th vehicle restored by Singer. You know, they're one of the leaders in Porsche restorations. And they've become, well, quite a force in the industry. I used to read about them in all the European magazines, and I thought, well, they must be near Austria somewhere, or somewhere up in the mountains, you know. And then I would go out in the hills here, and I'd see all these cars go by, and I go, it looks like one of those Singer cars. And then I find out they're like 2 miles from they're right around the corner, where the buildings are on the corner here. But the name has become so synonymous with European handling, and I don't know, I always call it German engineering. I just assumed they weren't even in this country, let alone literally on the same block. So it's kind of fun. I was fortunate enough to be asked to do the foreword for their book, which is a fabulous book. Well, it's just an amazing company. You know, they started doing 1 or 2 Porsche restorations, and then as the reputation grew, they were invited to Pebble Beach and at the Quail, and then pretty soon they became world famous. And it's just fun to see that you can do 100 cars. You know, a lot of places do 2 or 3 cars and then they go out of business or the customers fall off. But apparently they do such good work. They have a really loyal base. And this is one of those vehicles that sells merely by word of mouth. I don't see ads in magazines. You'll see videos and you'll see the cars on shows like mine. But this is one of those cars that really speaks for itself. Let's bring in Tim Gregorio. Tim, you're the... am I saying the right Gregorio?
Gregorio.
Oh, Gregorio. Yeah. Very good.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having us, Jay.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Did you ever think you'd hit 100 cars?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
You're one of the first guys.
Yeah. I was there at the beginning with Rob.
Okay.
We thought this was going to be a passion project for a few people.
Right.
It turned out, you know, word of mouth caught a hand. You mentioned the Quail. We took our first order after the Quail, actually, back in 2009. And then it kind of just snowballed and spiraled into this giant rock we have now.
and let's, for people who are not familiar, you only restore air-cooled.
That's correct. We
right.
Only work with a 90 to 94 964 series.
Okay.
We do coupes and targas. We take some flavor from all the way from 63 to all the way through the 993 era. The last.
Okay, so if I showed up with a 1967 911 I want to restore, that's not something you would do normally.
No, we tell you to keep it and restore it to original.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
For a while, we were taking a lot of the tired 964s out there, and it turned out to be one of the more modern platforms with the early look to it.
Right.
And it allowed us a good kind of starting point.
So what was the ethos, is that the correct word, behind this? What you chose this particular car? What was the thinking to improve it, to make it better, faster, stronger, you know?
Well, I think the main ethos behind it was honoring the 911 as
right.
a sports car, and especially the air-cooled era of the 911.
Right.
We wanted to take everything, distill it, and optimize it into what our celebration of a air-cooled 911 would be.
Now, do you have people that show up with water-cooled 911s? Please, you must do my car. It's a truckload of money. I back up the truck.
Yeah, we do get those phone calls now and
but
then.
no interest.
No, not right now. No, you know, we enjoy the formula we have now.
And what is it about the 911 air-cooled that is so fascinating? I mean, I get it. I've got one myself. I'm just trying to explain to people who don't quite get it. Is it the lightweight? Is it the ease of maintenance? Is it the simplicity of the air cooling? All of those?
I think it's all of that, and I think there's a lot of duality in the vehicle, meaning I think you can take it for groceries and then go carve up Angeles Crest.
Right.
All in the same vehicle and feel like you were having 2 different experiences.
I mean, obviously, when Porsche came out with the water-cooled engine, they saw the limits of the 911, emissions-wise, design-wise, all that kind of stuff. What's the most amount of horsepower one can get out of an air-cooled 911 without becoming just some crazy resto mod? You know what I'm saying?
So this particular car runs our 4-liter engine. It starts off with a base 3.6-liter case, which is the engine that actually came in this particular car. And that's putting out about 390 horsepower and about 315 foot-pounds of torque. For us, that feels like our sweet spot, and with 4 liters at this displacement in an air-cooled engine, we feel we're pretty optimized in terms of longevity and driving pleasure, I'll call it.
And what does this weigh now? You've got the carbon fiber fenders and whatnot.
So this car comes in around 2670.
Oh, okay,
roughly.
so that's, yeah.
It's all carbon fiber except for the doors. So you have a steel monocoque, steel doors, carbon fiber hood, front wings, roof, rear fenders, deck lid, and bumpers.
Yeah. Mike Flewitt, the head of McLaren, had an interesting article. He said, you know, the horsepower wars are over. We won. I mean, you have cars literally with 1,000, 1,500 horsepower. But I don't know if it necessarily increases the driving pleasure. Just you get from A to B quicker. You know, I always say the greatest thing about my 356 twin cam, the 1963 one I have, I enjoy watching the tach sweep it. It goes at a rate that my eye can follow and enjoy and still see the road. Monaco's, okay, now I'm in prison. What happened? I got arrested. I hit a child. What happened? You know, I mean, so to me, you know, 2,600 pounds and 400 horsepower, you can do incredible things with that, can't you? Yeah, yeah. So everything from here forward is carbon fiber, correct? Okay.
Yes, yes.
And how is that structurally? Is it stronger than the steel? Does it flex? I mean,
so all of our panels are autoclaved. They're done to pretty much a motorsports grade these days. The carbon itself does not really offer any structural rigidity to the vehicle. We left the standard monocoque that Porsche designed many years ago intact. Better to leave well enough alone. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. We do seam weld chassis upon request. Overall, the 964 was generally a very strong platform to begin with, especially torsionally. So we felt that there wasn't really much to go for there.
How does it work? Do I bring my car to you? Do I tell you what I want? You find me a car and then build to those specifications? What is the normal process?
Well, a normal process is you contact us telling us you'd like to pursue our services. We can help you locate a donor vehicle, or some people like to bring us their own. We had an overseas customer that brought his car to New York and drove it to California before we restored it into his Singer. Yeah. So.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah. Well, he got to really, I think, enjoy it when in its purest form and turned into, you know, what we do with it after.
I'm trying to think what visually is different. Obviously, the filler in the center of the hood is different. Is there more flair here in the front than there was?
There is. The early cars tended to be narrow until you got to the turbo era in the 70s. And we tried to take a little bit of inspiration from the eras all the way through. So you'll see a little turbo influence, maybe a little RS, you know, but it's all really kind of down to what we felt would be proportionally correct.
The roof is steel?
Carbon fiber.
Oh, carbon fiber as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think, how does that work?
So
I understand how you can bolt on fenders. How does one do the carbon fiber?
It's actually a bonded on skin. It's an overlay. Obviously the steel roof is cut out and you're left with the internal structure of the A and B pillars, and it's a carbon cap essentially that bonds on.
And what is our weight saving over the standard 911?
It's roughly 500 pounds, give or take.
Wow, it's that much, huh? Okay.
Yeah, give or take options.
Okay, yeah. Tell me about the brakes.
So we're running, this is a 993 twin turbo brake system on this car, steel brakes. We offer a carbon ceramic package as well. This particular one is not though, but.
Is that aftermarket or is that Porsche as well?
No, this is Porsche.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Porsche braking. Your only driver aid in the car happens to be ABS.
Right.
It's connected to, this runs our Öhlins TTX suspension, developed by PSI up in Northern California.
And this sort of pewter type finish, what do you call this?
That's milky nickel.
Milky nickel.
Yes.
Sounds like a stripper, doesn't it?
Well, you know.
Yeah, go down and see Stormy Daniels opening act, Mickey Nickel. Yeah. Okay, so I like that though. I like that soft glow.
It's a bit of a signature on a lot of our restorations.
This looks obviously much later.
Yes. Well, it was a little bit of inspiration from the early ducktail cars. We wanted to keep it as a movable and retractable wing like the 964 and 993 series had. So it's a bit of an homage to the early cars.
Okay. Let's see. Before we get to the end, let's open the front and show people what we have in there. Go ahead.
Sorry.
And obviously the car have air conditioning as well?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Well, everything is beautifully done.
The center fill fuel tank is actually an FIA rated fuel cell. We do offer in the state of California a CARB emissions legal package, which this tank qualifies as not only a FIA legal cell, but a CARB legal cell as well.
I like the fact you have the same number of threads throwing on each bolt.
It's in the details, right?
That seems very German, yeah. What do we have here? What are that?
Those are just actually closeout brackets. They hold the AC condensers, which
Oh,
are behind
okay.
the headlight buckets, on
Okay.
to the side of the car.
Okay. And obviously, to get to your clutch fluid and whatnot. Oh, under here.
Yep.
I see. This peels back.
And then under the little compartment in the front here, there's the ABS pump and brain, and you have the battery as well.
Okay. Do most people open the hood and fill the tank, or
Depends how brave you are, I
drag
guess.
that hose? Yeah, dragging that hose over the top seems.
Well, after the first or second time, it becomes pretty easy.
This luminescent paint is very nice. What is this color?
We call it Lunar Silver.
Okay. I mean, is it your own color?
It's a inspirational color from another manufacturer.
Okay. How hard is it to match paint on carbon fiber with paint on aluminum or steel? Is that tricky, or is it
No.
just paint? It just covers the same surface?
No, so we use a process developed by Sikkens for us. So all of our vehicles are painted using Sikkens paint. They have helped us over the past few years develop a system that actually does it lays flat and properly across both substrates.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. This just closes.
Yeah, just a nice, gentle.
Okay. Is that the standard wiper?
That's actually a 993 setup.
Okay.
So we modify the cowl. We bring it to 993 specs. The standard 964 had the wipers spread apart more.
Right.
And then in 993, it's one of the trademarks. And we felt that it was a neat carryover.
And what year is this car again?
This is a 91.
It's a 91. So this is pre-airbag, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move to the back here. Let's. When I was a kid, one of my pet peeves with Porsche was you'd open the hood of a Cobra, and there'd be the Webers and the valve covers that said Cobra. I mean, there was a visual impact looking at it. And when you'd open an early Porsche, you just kind of really couldn't see anything. It was also, whereas this is beautifully done. I love this finish here, this sort of satin finish. What is this off of?
That's actually off of a water-cooled GT3.
Okay.
So 997 era GT3.
Okay. All right. So a little mix and match.
Yeah, we heavily massage it to kind of make it our own.
That's a standard fan or different?
That is a standard fan, actually. The throttle bodies are bespoke to us. They are made for us by Kinsler Fuel Injection.
Oh, sure.
Michigan.
They're very good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I had an old Maserati, a fuel-injected one. Everybody always converts them to Webers, but I was determined to make this work, and we sent it to Kinsler, and they did a wonderful job. They did a really good job.
They've been a great supplier of ours. It's Ed Pink built racing engine. They build all the engines for us these days in every Singer restoration.
Right.
So we've got a great relationship going with the team over there.
And I love the fact that it's a proper road car. It's not just some silly track vehicle. I mean, it's got air conditioning. You can actually go someplace in it and drive it. I mean, some of these cars are so track-oriented now that it's just uncomfortable on the road. You know, it's just not fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is just beautiful. Now, is this one of these deals? Is this going to Saudi Arabia or going to Germany or somewhere?
No, this car's going to stay stateside. It's actually going to Alabama.
Alabama?
Yes,
wow.
Yes, believe it or not.
Well, that's good to know. Very cool.
I know.
Cool.
It's the more of these restorations we do, it's really fascinating to see where they wind up in the world.
Very cool. Well, it's just beautifully done. These bumpers are...
They start as carbon fiber bumperettes that we fit to each bumper, and then they are sent out for nickel plating.
You can nickel plate carbon fiber?
Our supplier claims they can nickel plate an apple if we gave it to them.
Really?
Yes. We've yet to take them up on that challenge.
Yeah, okay. So they cease to function as bumpers at this point. I imagine if you bump a carbon fiber bumper, it ceases to be a bumper. Okay. All right.
Correct.
But that's okay, because no one's going to bump into this. Now, with the 4-liter, when you take it out to 4-liter, do you have to increase the oil capacity?
No, we run the same oil, oil capacity. We did increase the cooler size, though.
Okay.
Over a few generations of moving to the 4-liter, we definitely found, especially since a lot of these vehicles are going to other climates where it's like much warmer than Southern California, even though that's hard to imagine sometimes.
Yeah. And tell me about this.
Stock, usually there's louvers on the 964.
Right,
So we removed the louvers, replaced it with the early style grille, which is what the early cars had. And a lot of people would put mesh behind there. We decided to go
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I noticed on the carpet it says single 100. This is the only car that can say that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at the interior. Now tell me about this. What color is this interior?
This is it's blackberry, actually.
Blackberry,
yeah.
Okay. Now, I've never seen blackberry, so I don't really know. Is that a common color you've done before, or is this unique to this car?
This is pretty unique to this car. We have done other cars that are similar. This is quite unique to this one.
Well, all Singers are similar, but none are the same.
Right.
Correct?
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, this particular car has our 8-way touring seat option in it.
Oh, okay.
It's we call it a suede mix leather weave, actually. So you have a standard leather mixed with a suede woven together.
Right, and of course, you kept the standard dashboard or gauges, which...
So it takes 3 sets of gauges to actually make our gauge package, our standard gauge package, which you see here. It does follow the same layout as the factory did.
Well, that's what I like, because it looks like Porsche.
Yeah.
So many cars come here that have been modified that I'm in it. What car am I in again? Because there's nothing on it that I'm identifying with, you know.
We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to just distill and enhance what Porsche did so well.
Right, but you did change the wheel. Which wheel is that?
That's a Momo Prototypo.
Okay, very nice wheel.
Wrapped to our specifications in our own leather.
Now I'll check you on your Porsche history. Why is the key on that side?
For Le Mans starts.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Because you could turn the key and put your hand on the gear shift at the same time. Very good. That's very good. Tell me about this trick mirror. I like this. I just assumed this was one of these. I got to roll down the window and then press the glass with my thumb.
That's designed and in-house at Singer.
Oh, very nice. Boy, that's really quite clever. So you drill a hole in the glass and you have a rubber gasket on each side.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually have the glass made for us, so it comes to us with a hole in it already.
Right.
But that's another composite piece that starts out as a plastic substrate and is nickel plated.
Oh, that's really cool. If someone came to you and said, "Oh, I saw that 100 car. I want exactly the same car," would you not do it, or would you have to call the owner and ask permission? How does that work?
We would
That's
try
a trick
to offer.
question. Yeah. You try to persuade them to go another way.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to offer alternatives.
Well, I mean, that's what makes this really unique. I mean, it's the 100th one, which is very cool, and it's a proper road car. This is what I love about it. You could drive this across country. I do not recognize the center console. Is that unique to you?
Yeah, it's fabricated for us and trimmed in.
So that is not Porsche either.
No.
Okay, but it's nice the way the handbrake it's cut in there.
Yeah. Little place to keep your change as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, gee, it's just beautiful. Can we take it for a ride?
Of course.
Let's give it a shot. Well, it smells fantastic in here.
Fresh leather. Since the first iterations of the 3.8 engines, we've even increased the rev limit a bit. You go from about 6,500 up to about 7,600, so you get about an additional 1,000.
And what was Porsche's main reason to going to water cooling? They just run out the limit of horsepower and emissions.
Emissions was a big one. Noise. The air-cooled engine's a bit noisy inherently. Horsepower as well. I think the more fuel you start putting into it, the more the emissions come up.
And what are you getting with this?
About 390.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, every engine, they dyno within about 3 horsepower of each other, so we try and keep it pretty consistent.
How many hours you run these on a dyno before you put them into the car?
It's approximately 24 hours.
So the owner can pretty much get it and drive it as intended.
Yeah, and the team at the shop puts about 200 miles on the car on a designated kind of route that we set out over here by the 210.
What's the highest mileage Singer you've seen? You've been in business 10 years.
Yeah, I've got a car in the UK that just turned over 8,500 miles.
8,500 or 8,500?
8,500. Yeah, I wish it was 85,000. 8,500. I would say that's probably up there on the higher range of them.
Over 10 years?
No, he's had that car about 4 years.
Okay.
So he's.
But I mean, the highest, anybody in the 150,000 mile range yet?
No, nobody yet. I'd argue to say there's probably nobody over 20,000.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like McLaren too.
Yeah.
I've got 12,000 miles on my F1, and people think, "What are you crazy? Well, that's a car."
I mean, it's you make me driven, right?
Is there a legal reason you keep steel doors?
We do offer carbon doors. there's a side impact beam in the door.
Oh, okay.
I think it's more of a safety thing.
Yeah. So 91 had the door impact beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many Porsches did they still build between 90 and 94?
I've heard worldwide numbers between 30 and 40,000. I don't know the exact number, but
There's not much chance you run out.
I think we're just dipping our toe into the pool.
Although the Porsche market seems to have cooled a bit, so you can pick up some.
Yeah, I think there's a bit. The 964, it seems to have, I don't know if plateaued is the right word, maybe stabilized a bit. You know, I think the entire air-cooled market spiked like crazy.
So how many cars you got in the hopper waiting to go?
Oh, there's 130 after this.
You have 130 ready to go.
Well, orders coming up. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they paid deposits.
Yeah. Car, you know, various stages, I guess. You know, we're up to about 230 on the books right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
231. So, yeah.
So what's the next milestone? 150 or 200?
150 will be a big milestone, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
So the first car was 2008? Is that about right?
Yeah, we started in 2008. Debuted at the first. That was at the Quail in 2009. So that summer, about a year and a half later.
Well, I love the gearbox. The shifting is just sublime. It really is. It's so much fun just to go through it because at no point does it ever hang up or you have to give it an extra push.
It adds to the visceral sensation, I think, of driving the car.
Yeah.
Becoming one with the fact that there's a trailing arm 2 feet from your butt back there.
Yeah.
You know, you begin to feel the connection to the road through the steering wheel.
I switch cars so often that it takes a while to get into the Porsche mindset.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just a different, and then, okay, I got it now, you know.
I find them to be a very easy car to get comfortable with, though.
Yeah. This feels extremely rigid. How much more bracing do you do in the chassis? Much?
Not much, no. There's a strut brace in the front. And there's a moderate amount of seam welding done, but that's to kind of the customer specification. The 964 platform was inherently stiff, much stiffer than the previous generation 3.2 Carreras. So it was one of the reasons we decided to go with the 964 platform.
Now, when a carbon fiber fender gets hit, you just replace the whole fender, or can carbon fiber be repaired like fiberglass?
It can be repaired.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. It depends on the severity, obviously, of the hit. In most cases, I would say it's probably more cost-effective to just replace them.
And what does a carbon fiber fender weigh?
I think the carbon fiber fender is around 10 pounds.
Right.
At the most.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
And the steel fender is what, about 35?
Yeah, around 35.
Yeah. It's amazing. Porsche isn't ever cramped. You could be, you're what, 6'3"? You
Yeah, I'm
said?
6'3".
This thing, no problem.
For what appears at first to be a small cockpit, it's actually quite spacious.
Yeah. What are your maintenance requirements for these motors? Is it the same as any Porsche motor?
Yeah, more or less. You know, we recommend 3,500 miles on the oil change, unless under track conditions or something. We'll tell you to change the oil a little bit after each track day. Valve adjustments at about 10,000 miles.
Well, I just love this gearbox. It's really fantastic. Tell me about this steering rack.
We run a 993 steering rack.
Okay.
So the 964 has a great steering rack. The 993 we felt was better. It takes away a little bit of the numbness on center.
That's still air-cooled, or is that
Yeah, it was the last of the air-cooled series.
Okay. That went to about, what, 98, 99?
98, yes.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about the air-cooled series 911, the generations of it, is that, all the way from 64 to 98, there's a lot of parts that are interchangeable.
Right.
Without too much fuss, you can slam a 3.6 out of a 993 into a 66 911 without, reinventing the wheel.
Well, Tim, thank you. The owner of this car is waiting at the garage for us, so obviously we haven't beat on it too hard, but you certainly could. It feels bulletproof. It's wonderful to drive. It really is the sort of the best expression of the whole air-cooled Porsche thing. It's almost as if they were still making this car, this is what it would be. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Close to 400 horsepower, 2,600 pounds. Just the best shifting transmission, boy. driven in a long time. And of course, just the leather and the smell and the custom wheel and the whole deal. I mean, the level of detail is really, really amazing. Tim, thank you very much. And congratulations on
thanks,
your
Jay.
100th vehicle. That's really, really exciting. It's really a testament, because there are few businesses harder than the car business, you know?
Yes.
And it's so much fun to see huge manufacturers, small, and you have McLaren, you have Tesla, then on the smaller scale you got you guys and a few other people, and you're a going business. You're in the car business now, and you're a manufacturer, and I think that's really, really exciting to see. So congratulations to Singer, and happy anniversary, and I think the new owner is going to love this car.
Thanks, Jay.
As long as I don't crack it up before we get home. I got to keep driving this thing. See you guys next week.